Those super cute, fluffy little faces that you just saw are the sous chefs that we've got hanging out in the kitchen today. But the main chef that I am joining in his home, in his kitchen, is Steve Monz from Big 1077.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me in your home. This is new.
Yes, it is, right? This is a first, so I'm very excited about this.
Yes.
My house has never been used for something like this.
Yeah, well, usually you join us on the CoastLife couch to
Right.
talk about things like, the big 5F that you had coming up.
Right.
And but now we are in the kitchen and we're making a really good, tasty comfort food, perfect for the holiday season.
Oh my gosh, for the winter, this is such a warm soup, and it's a hearty soup. It's a thick soup, and if you gotta love onions. I mean, that's the key. We're gonna do French onion soup. This is a Monz Family traditional recipe.
Oh, is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
You won't find this in any book anywhere. This is all up here, passed down from generation to generation.
All right, then I'm taking notes because if it's not going to be in writing, I got to do my best to remember. So what have we got?
We can actually post it if you want on the
Okay.
page. So it's not that much of a secret. So what we're going to do, you got to have onions, right? If you're going to make onion soup.
Yep.
So what you're going to do, I'm going to have you cut this in half.
Okay.
No crying, remember, because it's an onion.
I know.
So cut it in
No
half.
promises.
And don't lose a finger.
Also no promises.
And then what you're going to do is right there, you're just going to quarter it, because we want big pieces of onion. Now you don't want a long piece, you want like a big thick piece, so that's why we quarter it.
Gotcha.
And you've done this before apparently.
Well, this I can handle. Normally chopping is where I get kicked out of the kitchen.
Look at that.
If I'm cooking with my mom.
See that? It's easy enough. So now all you have to
Easy.
do, you put that into the bowl.
Okay.
I've already cut up one of them.
It's all right, I can handle that. And just, in they go?
In they
Like
go.
that?
They'll fall apart once we put them into the pot.
I like that.
Now this recipe does take a little while. You're going to see the sped up version here, but it'll take about an hour, hour and a half.
Good to know.
To do the whole thing. But it's all necessary, and obviously it's a slow cooking process to kind of get the onions to where you want them. You don't want them raw, and you don't want them too done, or else they kind of fall apart.
True. I feel like all the best soups take some time.
Right, absolutely. No question about it, because that's how you get all the flavors. Now, one of the other key parts of a French onion soup is the bread.
Okay.
And you take French bread, French onion soup, makes sense, right?
Makes sense.
And you
I'm
wanna-
connecting the dots here.
You want to cut about a ½ inch, or maybe a little bit more than that. You want a nice thick piece of bread, because this is going to go on top.
Ooh.
And if you have extra bread, cut it up, because it's really good to kind of dip it into the soup afterwards, as
like
you
where
shall
your head's
see.
at.
So this goes in, and this basically just goes into the oven, 400 degrees for 5 minutes on each side.
All right.
And then you'll see they'll be nice and toasty, and that will wind up being the top part of our soups. So we get to the heat part. Now you're going to hold the onions.
You got it.
First things first, we put in a stick and a half of butter.
Nice.
Go in 1½ cups sticks of butter. And you could do more or less, but I found that it really works out the best for the flavor of the onions.
That's the sweet spot.
So then, while that's melting, we're going to put in 1 teaspoon really of garlic.
There's no measuring garlic.
No, and you can do as much as you like. If you like a lot of garlic,
I'm a garlic girl.
put it all in there. Garlic is awesome, and it's good for you too as well. So that's going to melt down. And then what we do is we add the onions, which you can dump in.
Ready?
Yeah, you can dump them right in there. That'll melt down. You want this on a medium heat. You don't want to burn them.
Okay.
You want them to become kind of a golden brown, as you'll see.
Got it.
And it looks like a lot of onions, but when this actually boils down, it's basically 1 onion per bowl of soup.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Is how it turns
like
out.
Spinach effect.
Yeah, so that's going to take a little while. You do this on medium heat for about a ½ an hour.
Okay.
And keep an eye on it till it gets the consistency you like. And then at that point, we add in our next round of ingredients.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it, which we will get to that when CoastLife gets back. But first, we got to take a quick break. The onions are smelling very, very tasty here in the kitchen of one Steve Monz, who hasn't let us go anywhere yet here on CoastLife because we are cooking up some French onion soup. So what is next in our steps here for the French onion soup?
Okay, so our onions are kind of breaking down. And like I said, this is probably the most time-consuming part. It takes about a ½ an hour for it to kind of, the onions, as you see, will become like a golden brown.
Yum.
And so while that's happening, what we do is, the next part is really the broth of the soup, right?
Okay.
So again, I like to do things simple. There are people who can take things a little bit more, more traditional, but I like to make it easy. So we've
You
got
won't hurt my feelings with easy.
beef bouillon cubes,
Okay.
which we're going to make 5 cups of beef broth. So these are just standard. You can buy them in any store. You throw them in there. I've already pre-measured out 5 cups of water, which I've heated up already. And so that will go in. and this is going to create our broth.
Yum.
Now, there's really only 3 other small things that will go into this.
Okay.
One is you're going to put in 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce.
Never say it right on the first try.
So we get in usually 1 tablespoon of that. And again, this is to taste. If you don't like Worcestershire sauce, you don't have to do it. One of the other secret ingredients is we actually do 2 tablespoons of soy sauce.
Now we're talking.
This will give you, obviously, that soy sauce flavor and also add to the beef flavor. So we do 2 of those. And again, to taste, if you want more or you want less, you know, it's your kitchen, it's your food. You can do whatever you want with it.
Your rules.
Now that brings me to the final ingredient,
okay,
which is very important. And again, you don't need to have this, but you can. White wine.
This sounds like an essential.
Yes, in our house it is. And I think on the recipe I said you put in about an eighth of a cup or a quarter of a cup. I usually just like to do it to kind of get an idea.
That's just how I pour a glass.
Yeah, and again, you can add more if you like the wine taste. The wine with the Swiss cheese, really a great combination. So as this goes, this will actually all mix together. And when the onions are ready, we'll pour that in there.
Perfect.
And this, once you put the liquids in with the onions, it's another 30 minutes.
Okay.
So that's our full hour, 30 minutes with the onions and then 30 minutes with the soup so that the soup can actually get into the onions. All right. Next is the assembly, and that's where we're going to put you to work for the assembly.
All right.
And now a big part of French onion soup is the Swiss cheese.
Of course.
I like to go with a baby Swiss, but this is a secret ingredient. Okay, this is where a lot of people go wrong. You take a half a slice of Swiss cheese, and it's going to go on the bottom. On the bottom. So when just when you think the soup is done, there's another bite of cheese at the bottom. Right.
More cheese.
And now, you got it? Now you're going to take a piece of the bread, plop it right on top. Now, there are people who've used croutons. You can use smaller pieces of bread. I like the big piece because I think it, again, adds to that heartiness.
Yeah.
So then we're going to add 2, maybe 3.
Tuck it all in.
Actually, you don't need to tuck it in. You actually don't want to tuck it in because you do want it to melt over the side and give you that beautiful presentation.
Okay, see, it's important to ask the chef questions.
Well, presentation is, in your finer restaurants, that's what it's all about,
Look,
right?
the way I take my presentations seriously when I'm just cooking for even myself, I'm like, this, it has to look good.
I thought I was the only one.
No, you're not crazy.
So now this is going to go into the oven.
All
It
right.
goes in at 375 degrees for 30 minutes, and then you're done.
All right, sounds good to me. So why don't we put this in the oven and
right.
we'll get to the taste test portion.
The taste test, the most important part,
Yes.
shall be next.
Well, Steve, it's been a delight hanging out with you in the kitchen, but this is my favorite part of any cooking segment that we do, the taste test.
Absolutely. This is what it all comes down to, right?
All right, let's. Ooh.
And you can see the cheese is like, nice and cooked on top.
Crusty, yeah.
Yep. You break through, and again, it's going to be hot, so just keep that in mind.
I will be careful.
But you want to make sure you get a little bit of everything. You want to get some bread. You want to get some onion. Oh, that's where you see the steam coming off it.
I know. I gotta...
Oh boy.
I'm so nervous.
All right, I'll go first. And if I burn, then you know to wait.
Hot?
Not bad.
Okay.
On the side, you can actually add in some of the leftover bread that we had.
Oh, smart.
Toast it up, so in case you've got some more juices at the bottom, you can kind of sop it up, if you will.
This is, on a cold winter day, this is healing. I mean, you can see through like space and time and just eat this and cuddle up in a blanket, and that's it. That's happiness.
That's usually how it works. And what's great about it is this is all you need. It's very filling. So like you don't need to have a side and all this. I mean, you can, but this, when you're done with this, you're ready for a nap.
And overall, I mean, this was only a handful of ingredients.
Right.
Super easy, came together, and just takes a little bit of time. So if you've got the time, it's definitely the winter meal must have. Well, Steve, thank you again. I'm going to dive further into this bowl just slowly because it is hot. But we're going to take a quick break, but there's more CoastLife coming your way.